This is the final class of a series of 7 videos in which you will learn how to put together the 6 Zentangle inspired patterns that we've been practicing all along into one beautiful masterpiece. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Ingrid, and I'm a holistic wellness practitioner at My Inner Palette. One of the ways that I like engaging with well-being is by connecting to your inner child and the created self that you have within yourself. Most times we forget about it and we put it in a box and we don't think about creativity whatsoever. We're grown-ups. We don't need to go and be creative. Well, let me tell you that one of the ways of engaging really well with well-being is by being creative. This is why I love the mindfulness doodling, because you're able to create while you're disconnecting your mind and you're bringing yourself to the present moment. So I invite you to follow along this series of 7 videos and take a few minutes just for yourself so that you can engage in a creative practice that will calm your mind. It will lower down the stress and the anxiety levels that you might be feeling. So come along. After doing 6 different patterns in the previous videos, now we're gonna put all of the patterns that we learned in the previous video. So first of all, if you haven't watched them, please go back and look at each one of the videos, because in this case, I'm gonna be demonstrating how to use all of the 6 patterns that we've learned and practiced together in just one Zentangle art inspired square. So to start with, the previous videos were showing smaller squares, and this is because we were practicing in smaller surfaces each one of the different patterns. In this case, we have a square that it's around 7 centimeters per side, and I've just put dots here to see which ones are the edges of it. And the first thing that we do is that we connect the dots with a line. You don't need to use a ruler or anything like that. It's just going through them in a more organic way. So if the lines are not completely straight, that's totally fine. As you can see, mine are not completely straight, and that's the point of it. Okay, so in this case we have this 6 different patterns that we're going to be using in this shape. So first of all, what we do is that we do a line and we start separating this surface into 6 different spaces that we're going to be using the patterns that we learned before. So to do that, I would recommend you to follow through what I'm doing. Now, if you end up having 4 spaces or 5 instead of 6, that's okay. You can just like skip one of the patterns that we're going to be using today. So choose your favorites. So in this case, follow through. I'm just gonna do something like this, and then here you can see that by having this I have 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces, but we're gonna be using 6. So in this case, I'm just gonna go and do a little bit more here, like going through right in the middle there. So now I have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And we're missing 1. So I'm just gonna continue doing this and go there. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. So that will be the first step. Now we're gonna start going through the list of patterns that we've practiced before. And remember that if a pattern requires more detail, that you can switch into a pigment liner that is thinner. Okay? So first of all, I'm gonna start with the holy bowl. And as we practice it already, I'm not gonna go into much detail about it. I'm just gonna go with it. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. And also remember to check the description box, because I have leave you there a beautiful gift that I've created with a lot of love and intention. Remember to do your best, but if your lines are not, oops, super accurate like that one, don't worry about it. To make it easy for you to follow this series, I'm gonna leave in the description box below all the links that you need for each one of the classes, so you can follow along from class 1 to class 7. Remember to move your sketchbook as you go to make it easy for you to do the lines in the best way possible, the most comfortable possible way for you. This is the first part of the holy book. So next I'm gonna be coloring the background with thicker pigment liner. In this case it's at 0.8, but there are even thicker ones out there in the market that you can get. And if you have any questions about any of these techniques, just please let me know. If you have enjoyed the series so far, also just remember to leave me a comment. I love to read the comments and answer them. It really inspires me to keep on going with sharing videos. I will speed up only this part of the process, because otherwise the video is gonna get very long. So feel free to pause the video if you decide to color the background of Holibo. And now with a pencil, we're gonna be doing some shading, just to give it a little bit more depth even. So remember that we're doing this whenever we have like a ribbon that is going underneath another one. So we put some shading on the sides of the ribbon that goes underneath another. Right, so we can take the Hollywood as done. There we go. Now we're gonna move to the second one, Nipa. So Nipa, I'm just gonna make it here on the bottom. You can choose any of them, but I just want to do it here. There's enough surface to go with it, and yeah, I think that is gonna look nice here. Okay. And I think that I'm gonna change to 0.3, which is thinner than the pigment liner that I was using before. See how the patterns become a little bit more challenging now that we don't have just like a normal square shape that we're following. So you need to be, in a way, a little bit more present and in tune to what you're doing. And there's a little bit more of a decision as well, where you start thinking about the design, like, oh, where do I want this pattern to go, or that pattern. It's still very fun. Well, and then we do the same now to the other side, right? The slower you go, the better it is for you, for your mind, and for your we say pulse in Spanish, but this is not really pulse. It's like to keep a straight line in a way. If you know the word, please teach me in the comments. There we have it, Nipa. And we're gonna finish it off with some shading. So I'm just gonna add some shading like on this side here. Then the little planets of balls, they look more three-dimensional. So Nipa is done. Now we're gonna continue to the diva dance. For this, I'm still gonna be using a 0.3 tip, and I'm gonna do it in this space here. Just as a reminder, if you haven't checked the previous videos where I'm teaching each one of these patterns before, I would recommend you to go and check them out and then come back to this video here to do the full Zentangle inspired art. Because you might be missing some steps, or you might not be understanding quite well what we're doing. And also, once you've finished, if you follow me on social media, I would love to see how your Zentangle inspired patterns end up looking like. So I really invite you to follow me on Instagram and share a picture of them on your stories and tag me in them. I would really, 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 really enjoy to have that type of interaction, because I'm here on the other side of the camera and I don't get to see your wonderful creations. So yeah, I feel like I'm missing out. So there we have the diva dance. So now we're going with the next one. I'm gonna be doing it here. It doesn't have too much of a space, so I'm gonna try to keep the little squares that we practiced before in a previous video smaller, okay? And yeah, I'm gonna try to make them here on a line. So we're gonna start here, little squares. if it's not perfect, it's fine. We're doing this to relax and to unwind and to have fun. How many times we end up not enjoying something just because we want to get it perfect? Crazy. I think that it's around there, right? Okay, so we start now doing the lines. Here's a little bit trickier because you need to picture where are the invisible squares that are not there. So you need to keep in mind that when you're doing this patterns. And if you're unsure, just go for the ones that you can see fully the squares, and then that's gonna help you to continue with the pattern itself. Full attention. I think that's it. Okay, so once you have that, feel free to start shading as we've done in the previous video as well. That way it looks like it's more of a 3D look to it. There we go. So there we have W2 done. And now we are heading to the last two. So we have the chicken star and the swarm, and we're gonna be doing them inside of these two little drops. Okay, So for that, in this case, because my drops are quite small, I'm gonna go with a very thin pigment liner. So first we're gonna be doing the Chickasaw. I'm gonna do them here. So there we go, we have one, and you can finish it off by shading a little bit here on the sides as we did previously. There we go, and the last one. So this one is ready, and now we're going with the swarm. In the swarm, I'm also going to be using a very thin pigment liner. And there we have it. I really hope that you've enjoyed this practice, and here is how our design ended up looking like after practicing 6 different isolated designs, and then we ended up doing them all in one Zentangle inspired art piece. So I hope that you have enjoyed this, and if you're new to my channel, make sure that you are hitting the subscribe button below, and also check the description box because I'm gonna be leaving the list of all the videos of this series, and also a special gift only for you. I feel very grateful to have been able to hold your hand through 6 different Zentangle inspired patterns through this whole series, and then help you create a masterpiece of your own. So let me know in the comments if this is something that you would like to see more of in the future. I would love to know. Have a beautiful day, afternoon, evening, whatever you're in the world, and I'll see you next time.